It's really normal to see our children's behaviours, their actions, their words as some kind of a reflection on who we are as parents, right? And to a certain degree, there's some truth in that. And the focus I want to bring into this video is really, while we have the narrative of my success or failure as a parent based on the expectations that I hold, which probably don't even come from my own value system. They might come from society, they might come from family members or friends. We're so focused on the opinion of other people about how our child is behaving in a moment. Could be worried about the long-term impact of that and what that means for them. And then it becomes our job to fix it. We have to raise them right. We have to teach them how to behave. And when they are not behaving in a way that maybe we would be proud of, is the right way of putting it. And the reason I pause there is because I go off on a tangent and trust it's okay. At the end of each day, no matter what kind of day we have had, and this is a fairly recent practice for me, I'll say at the end of the day just how proud I am of my family, of my 7-year-old, of my 9-year-old, of myself. So proud of us for what we've achieved today. Because I have this belief that everything that is happening right now in this moment, this ever eternally unfolding now moment, is for my greatest benefit, even when I don't understand, because I have that trust and belief infused into my being. I also trust that about what unfolds for everyone around me. Worry is not something that stays in my system for very long at all, if it occurs in the first place. Now, I'm proud of us. Notice I say at the end of the day, right? Because in the moment, I'm not always fully appreciating how this is benefiting us. And let's bring it back to the original intention. So we want our kids to have the best possible lives, right? To have the best possible opportunities. And we have ideas and expectations about what that looks like, what that means, what that will be. We're bringing our own perceptions, our own truths, and putting them on our kids. And ultimately, and I speak this from personal experience, ultimately, that becomes all about me. When my child was my firstborn, every time he cried, every single time he cried, there was a part of me that felt like a failure. And if he cried in public, what sort of mum do people think I am? That's new mum energy, right? It'd be great to be able to dissolve that and see that actually, when I can take myself out of the equation, whether it's a baby, a toddler, preschool, and so we go on, right? When I can take myself out of the equation and see, right now, there's an emotion going on. There is an expression of that emotion going on. Fundamentally, and this is the crux of it, and it can feel incredibly uncomfortable as a parent who wants their child to know how safe they are, to know how loved they are. But fundamentally, that's us every time there's that anger, sadness, fear. The lived reality of that is, I don't feel safe right now. And the nervous system responds, I want to say appropriately, and it is appropriately within the perception of the individual, right? Now, if I make that about me, and be like, oh no, that behaviour's not okay. That behaviour's unacceptable. You must do this in order to belong, in order to fit into society, in order to be accepted, in order to be safe. These are the subconscious lenses that we're operating through, most likely, or some variant of that. So we want to fix that, and we want to train into, this is how you behave in order to be accepted. These are the frameworks and the paradigms and the boxes that you have to fit into. And if you don't, then there's consequences. Now, it doesn't mean that we allow destructive or rude behaviour, right? It's not, they're just not feeling safe. I don't want to squash their expression. I don't want them to feel like it's not okay to feel like that. And then there's no containment for what it is they're feeling, right? The feelings are just like, it's a tantrum, it's a fit, it's a defiance, whatever the thing is, right? But there's a loop that happens where it's like, here's the behaviour. Oh no, that's kind of about me. I don't feel good enough, so I need my child to behave in a certain way to feel good enough. They're not behaving like that. That means something about me. And then in our own beings, our self-worth is like, it's like bottoming out, right? Not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. We want them to be good enough for society. And I have so many thoughts running through my head right now, so hang with me if this is hitting something in you. Because I'm aware I have a very non-linear mind, right? Like there's so many things popping for me right now. that we could take this in one direction or another direction, and I want you to be able to follow it and to stay with me. And it's my commitment to be as transparent as I possibly can in everything that I do. So I'm doing these unscripted shares of what feels most alive for me right now. And I kind of lose my thread sometimes. And that gets to be okay. Because what was going on in my mind there is like, I think a lot of us have the awareness that we don't have self-worth. We have an awareness that maybe the parenting paradigm that we grew up in, the reality that we grew up in, even if our parents were well-meaning, it didn't feel like it fit us. We didn't feel understood. And I think that's created something that's gone almost so far in the opposite direction, where there's just like this hands off, and I'm not going to discipline, I'm going to be the gentle parent so that I don't emotionally scar my child and chip away at their self-worth, or whatever the language is for you. And I've said this before and I'll say it again many, many times, because it's the foundation of everything. We get to simplify all of life. It's so simple. I use a lot of words, right? I talk a lot and I share a lot. I've got a lot of concepts and I have a lot of stories. Most of my stories are contained right now because they involve my children. And I'm not willing to compromise their privacy. And everything gets simplified. Lost my thread again. Everything gets simplified into, where are we coming from? Right? And there's two places. There's lots of words for these two places. There's fear or there's love. Right? That's the fundamentals. There's defense or expression. Same thing. So let's unpack that. Fear is, I'm not good enough. I don't want them to feel not good enough. I don't want them to feel X, Y, and Z. I'm worried about it. I want to do everything I can to make sure that they don't have to feel that. Scared though. Feel it in my system. There's fear in that. I was parented this way, therefore I'm going to do the opposite of that. I experienced this thing that I didn't like, therefore, or maybe that I did like. Going in a different thread again. The fear is the foundation, whilst fear is the foundation, whilst defense is the foundation, because when we're afraid, we feel like we need to defend ourselves. There's walls that come up. Whilst that is the energetics that I'm putting into the actions that I'm taking. This is why I don't teach strategy. I don't give you the action steps. It's not a cookie cutter, do this. It's individual to you. It's getting underneath those layers of defense, of protection, of fear, and getting into the essence of who you are. of revealing the worth and the value of who you be, who you have always been, and who you've forgotten that you are. So while we're looking out, trying to protect, and again, there's nothing wrong with this, right? I'm not taking away from the madness in the world. So take what I'm saying and apply it in whatever way feels most coherent to you, or reject it, right? Push back against it. And I love to get into those conversations. So please do leave me comments if what I'm saying you're like, what are you talking about? Love expression. This is when we're working from I am worthy and I am successful in who I am and what I do, and the results that I'm seeing in the world have nothing to do with that. So we apply this to our kids, right? I'm successful and I'm proud of myself because I choose to be. Because I know that I don't need to teach them anything and I don't need to raise them to be a certain way. My role as the leader, as the guide, is to provide the space for them to uncover who they are and to grow into who they came here to be. Right? It's like the acorn is going to be an oak tree, right? Right? Acorns and oaks. Nobody has to teach it that. And we all have a seed of brilliance within us. We all have something that we're here to express and to bring into the world. And this is why I always say the most loving thing that we can do for our children is to learn to love ourselves so completely. Because they're not listening to what we're saying. They're watching what we're doing. We want to teach them that they're important, that they matter, and that they're worthy. You've got to be it first. You're the leader. You've got to go first. And when it comes to those big feelings, those big behaviours, the explosive ones, the ones that bring the worry and the fear and they're not conforming to this and they're not meeting that standard. And I mean, that's another conversation, but it's something that it kind of breaks my heart when I hear, oh, my 6-year-old is behind on his writing. What? How can a 6-year-old be behind on anything? So the invitation today is for you to get really honest about how much of the values that you have come from the expectations of others. How much are you taking action because you're worried about the opinion of other people and what they might think? How much are you operating through fear? And what would it look like for you to get really clear on what matters most to you, for your family, and start to take actions in alignment with that? Doesn't need to be some big overhaul, right? The little actions do compound. The awareness on its own, it's going to do bugger all, right? Just looking at the time. The awareness creates a choice, but the choice takes effort, takes a ton of effort to do things differently. And often the awareness, even the awareness piece, I'm going to ask you questions at times in these videos, and the questions I ask are very pointed. They're very revealing. I had a conversation with somebody the other day who's been stuck for what to do in their life for a while. And I asked them one question. Within 3 minutes, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. Another woman, because of one question, is now going to be the best in her industry worldwide because of a question. So don't take these questions lightly. Don't take these shares lightly. If you're still with me at this point, then go back through. Write the questions out, journal them out, send me your answers. And if you want to bring light and awareness to the things that you cannot see, because many of these things we can't see on our own, then drop me an email. We can get into conversation about creating a one-on-one mentorship. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you next week.